Hey everybody, Flip Robinson here, one of the co-founders of the Freedom Real Estate Group family of companies, and here we are for one of our podcasts. This one's a little bit different of a podcast. This is a special podcast, and our podcast, of course, is called REIalTalk, which is Real Talk for the Real Estate Investor. Normally, our podcasts are of a teaching sort. Today is an announcement sort because today, effective Monday, August 9th at 8 a.m. this morning, we have hired and have instituted our Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Randy Brown.
Hey, thanks. Well, we're going to, no slow roll or anticipation or anything. I guess, hey, who's the big guy in the video?
Let's hear it. Like you said earlier, rip the Band-Aid off.
That's right.
Here we go.
Rip it. That's right.
This is, this has been a long time coming. You've been with us, working side by side, I should say, for a few years now.
Yep.
So why don't you explain a little bit about that, like how we got started?
Okay. So I think the first project I was working on for you guys was like a year-end 2017 wrap, something like that. And so through some investors that we know mutually, we kind of came in contact. And I think the very first engagement was like to help catch up the books and give some coaching on a few processes. And, then you guys were going to kind of handle it and get off and running. So that's where we started. And then I guess you kind of take baby steps. You grow, we grow. Right. You take on what you guys grew like exponentially. So you shot out of a cannon. So there was leaning on our firm a lot to jump in and build out some of those practices until it just became, like you said, like the perfect fit. Right. To where, we just kind of started to just enjoy doing business together. Right. And your business seemed like, even though I was working as a consultant, your business seemed like my business. Right. So.
Right. And I've always felt the way you interacted with us, and even in our meetings back to day one, that's how you approached it. It wasn't like you were a consultant. You were as if you were one of us. And it's always been like that. And so going back to that beginning, how many companies did we have back then?
I think we did have 4.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we had 4. We had even we, right? Even back then we had.
Yeah.
Now it's always been kind of my approach, right? That's like my client interaction, is to be a part of the team, right? But I think the 3 of us just kind of clicked immediately. Like we just wanted to be in business together. So we would turn off the kind of, okay, here's the financial implications and here's your tax strategy. Here's how the businesses should do to do business together. And then it just became, okay, so what's your entrepreneurial philosophy? What do you want to do with those things? So there was a relationship that was built early on.
Right. And real quick, though, 2 of those companies, though, when you came on, were entity companies, companies that we bought stuff with. And we don't technically count them in our 6 companies.
Yes.
So we were only just 2 companies. We were at that time. It was we.
Right.
But you just touched on something, which is, I think, one of the reasons why it was such a perfect fit is because your entrepreneurial background.
Sure.
As Danny and I obviously were the epitome of entrepreneurs for the last 20 years. And so we had the same mindset. You thought exactly how we thought. And there's not very many times that we bring somebody in that happens. But when it does happen, we latch on and we won't let you go, which is exactly what happened here. But
I didn't see it coming.
Yeah. Well, but secretly, and we recognize your superpowers and your ability to lead people in a way that they don't realize that they're being led. You're like, let's go get him, and all of a sudden everybody just jumps up and runs through the wall for you. It's amazing, the impact that you brought onto us onto these companies. You moved into a vice president role of business development and our CFO at that time, and you started what's called First Fridays. You want to talk about First Friday at all?
First Friday is just a quick little meeting, right? So we go through some information, some training, a little bit of recognition, but it's basically all of the companies, a quick snapshot of the performance and what that means to the rest of the team. That way the whole company kind of gets together and gets to see how their performance matters to the group at large, right? And in order for the medicine to go down, we try to put a little, sweetener with it. So it should be a good time. Right.
And then we also recognize we recognize a couple individuals, but then there's the winner of the First Friday Award, or we don't actually know what the name of the award is, but it's nominated by everyone else. All the team members, email you and say, hey, here's who I think should get it, and and then we meet and we discuss, and so we've had a different team member win it every month so far this year. We're going to eventually get plaques and a trophy and all this, but that's work in progress.
Sure, I feel like the recognition. Obviously, we see the needle mover pieces, right? The activity that actually moves the needle, and those are results, right? But your peers are in the trenches with you, and they say they can see who went through the wall. So I really feel strongly, and we did, but we felt strongly that those recommendations should come from the trenches, from the people actually doing the work. So yeah, it's my favorite part, right? And then making sure that, because what they did was exceptional, that they feel it. Right, that they feel it. So we kind of make an event out of their presentation and that stuff. So
it's awesome.
I love it.
Yeah, we love it. It started in January. We've done one every month, and people look forward to it. It's sometimes you do things and you don't really think how much it impacts people.
Right.
And no one's I haven't heard anyone say oh, we got a First Friday meeting. I don't great. I haven't heard that at all. But then all of a sudden I hear all these people saying, oh, I can't wait for the First Friday meeting. They're looking forward to it, which is great. And plus you build in there, a lot more, sales orientation, and also you do a little teaching in there as well. Again, they don't notice that, you do it in such a sly way that they just, it's great your mind meld how you got that going. But then the team motivation, everyone just, they feel your aura in this office, they know when you're here, because it's like, Randy's here, let's go, and so it's always such a great time. But so, we touched on this a little earlier. How many companies did we have when you met us, and that was how many LLCs? Which now I don't even know how many LLCs we've got. But let's talk about how we're talking like we bring all the people together for First Friday. It's one company instead of 6 individual companies. So you wanted to touch on that?
Yeah, sure. So I think that's kind of the vision behind that meeting, yes, but also kind of as the companies have expanded, right? The business, you guys got into business to provide turnkey opportunity for real estate investors, right? And so when we talked about the 4 companies, it was actually 2, right? It was acquiring the properties and getting them ready for sale through the renovations company, and then the actual dispositions, right? And putting out a quality product and making sure that the investor was buying something that was quality was the primary objective, right? And then there were some hurdles that happened when we were trying to fulfill that actual turnkey type of feeling, right? Because now there's a property management piece. And so we were handing that over to a third party to manage the properties. And this isn't about going into those experiences or anything like that. But we felt that we could provide, again, the we, right? It is we, right?
It is.
But we felt we could provide a better experience than what was out there because of some frustrations and things like that. So we added the property management company, right? And then getting properties, because of the market being so hot, especially this part of the world, investors coming from all over the place, like Arizona and Texas and things like that to buy
Switzerland.
here.
I mean, they're coming from everywhere.
Right, to buy here. So being able to rely on outside parties and wholesalers and things like that to provide inventory became a little more difficult, right? Plus, we developed the resources and some skills that might be differentiators in that space. So another company was born to acquire those properties, right? Yes. And so now we have, we're mining for the gold, we're polishing the gold, we're refining it with fire, that stuff. So seeing the company as not 6 individual businesses, but as one kind of wraparound service, right? mentioning some of the others, right? Investor comfort with Freedom Capital Group, like, and then, that we do retail business now, right? So Independence Realty Group.
Yeah, we're doing a lot of retail right now.
Right. So all of that, kind of as I don't like using cliches. I speak in bumper sticker, like everyone knows that.
I know, I love it.
But things like one-stop shop, that's not exactly my flavor, but that's exactly, where we're getting, the entire process. And as those goals are met, right? So we're not having trouble coming up with inventory, right? C4OH is humming right now. They're doing a great job. Yeah. So it's an opportunity to add external dispositions, right? So now we can leverage our talents, because we have been doing this, taking what they purchase and making them into high-value retail and turnkey investments. Now we can offer that service as our inventory gets too high. There's only so many rehab crews. Yeah. Right. So it's just where we're going is so exciting to me that I couldn't watch it from Fort Mitchell. Right. Right. So I'm glad that. I'm glad that this whole piece, I don't know how much we want to go into what your thought process was and what your next move is.
We're going to get into that here in a second. Yeah. So, but we enjoy the because we always kept saying we're all of these individual companies. They're under one roof, but they're individual companies. But you're right. It is just big, like you said, we mine the gold and we clean the gold and then we take care of your gold. And then we sell you the gold that we're still taking care of, so it's like you said, I hate the one-stop shop, but it really there's nothing off the top of my head that better explains it. But so the thought process from Danny and I was we've always been told work on the business, not in the business, and when you're, we started the one company. And we get it going, and we're just to that point where we can get out and work on the business, and we're like, let's start another company. They get in there, let's start another company. And so we've never gotten to the point where, because we're thick in the weeds with this, and it's been a grind. But we finally got to a point where we're just like, we need someone now. We need someone, and we need someone to come in and take this over from us because, in June we took our do not disturb, our D&D. I love it. Our do not disturb vacation, and it was amazing. We taught everybody how to do everything, and we left. And then when we came back, we didn't take anything back. We just said, "You guys keep doing it all." It was awesome, and that's when we realized, okay, now we can get out. And now we need someone to run this so that we can officially get out. But we're not getting out. That's the thing. So that's and I made sure that everyone knew this. Danny and I aren't going anywhere. We're still here. We're still in our same offices. We're not moving anywhere. We're still grinding it out. But our focus now is on multifamily and larger multifamily, 100, 200, whatever, 300 units. And so that's our main focus now to include and to build up Freedom Capital Group, which is the baby of the family. Sure. And so we're not going anywhere. We're going to still be here, even though everyone keeps asking me questions, and I just go, that's a great question for Randy. Right. But so we're not going anywhere. We're just, but we're super excited that, well, number one, that you said yes. That was we were super excited, pumped about that. But we're super excited. We couldn't be more excited about like what you just said about our future and where this is going because, I think you had said, you're sitting on a powder keg. Yeah. This is it's we're going like this, but it's just going to get bigger, and we're super excited. We're so glad that you're on board, and welcome officially to the family. You're no longer an outsider acting like you're part of the family. You are a part of the family now. So welcome again.
Thank you.
So did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about?
I just wanted to. It's funny in your the video you did last week. You talked about Randy terms, but I wanted to tease something out just a little bit. I do want to tease out that you guys aren't going anywhere. That was it was very important to me when we were going through the process of making sure what made sense in us coming together was that you guys have 20 years or so of experience in there. I think. Maybe not quite 20 years, but hundreds of years worth of actual experience because of the grind and how fast you did it and how fast you grew in all the parts of the business. And so that having that resource still here was super important. Mm-hmm. That you guys are, you're going to our offices are 10 feet away, right? And so that resource will be here because your knowledge and experience and guidance and is priceless.
Right.
All right. And I think people are going to be real happy to hear that. The culture here, that was born out of you and Danny, right? The investor comfort. Danny loves to say, we've never had an investor lose money with us, right? And so we're going to continue that trend, right? But having Danny there, right there, shoulder to shoulder, still in the trenches, but just with a shift of focus toward the next big thing.
Yep.
It's really exciting. It's really exciting. So just teasing out that when he says they're not going anywhere, it's really not. They're
seriously, we're not going anywhere.
It's right. Yeah. So no, that was the last piece I had. I feel like, that there should be some type of, I don't know, joke or, maybe some type of,
You're come on, you're the king of jokes.
I know. I just thought of this in the moment. So I'm I don't want to, not perform right now, but I feel like I'm racing through. I'm going to have to go through some of the old ones that maybe someone that is on the podcast hasn't heard before, but maybe the team has heard before. But you had heard that I just bought the house next door to my father-in-law, right? And so I have a great relationship with my father-in-law. People have these ideas about what it might be to live next to your in-laws. If I were to make a list of my top 5 best friends, my father-in-law would be on it, right? Independent of the fact that he let me marry his daughter, right? But he bought a horse, right? Did you hear about that? He bought a horse? Yeah, you did hear. And most of the time, the horse is pretty quiet. He named it Mayo, and he's quiet most of the time. It's not really an issue, but sometimes in the middle of the night, Mayo neighs.
Okay, so on that note,
that's the one I decided to go with. I'm sorry.
Awesome. Well, again, this wasn't a teaching podcast. This was our announcement podcast, and this isn't something that we just put on for the podcast. This is how we act all day. We have a great relationship with Randy. We like to have fun, and in fact, we like to have fun at all times. And if you ever do visit our offices, make sure you come down to Randy's office to play a little basketball because he's got a little some basketballs and a little hoop, and he gets pretty competitive. So just be careful. But again, this is Real Talk, which is Real Talk for real estate investors. And we always like to end our podcast with
invest smart,
live happy. Bye, everybody. Nothing on this show should be considered specific personal or professional advice. Please consult an appropriate tax, legal, real estate, financial, or business professional for individualized advice. Opinions and information on this show are not guaranteed. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss.